representing all aspects of the relationship. And I think Keir and I realised that some people around the table last evening we will see again. Possibly around the table like this.
That is certainly.
But again, their issues, and they had brought together about 16, 17 young people in and around access to health services, education, the issue of mental health, very strong theme from the young people, and broadening curriculum. So that was good. I think the importance of common travel area is vital. We can see that in terms of the ease of movement between all of these groups in different sectors. And this morning we were at Tyndall, which blew our mind away in terms of the quality of the research, but also that easy collaboration where you have students who were in Tyndall going to, in this case, the Imperial in London for their studies, but then re-collaborating back to Tyndall on very cutting-edge research, which will help us all in terms of reducing energy, in terms of data center and modern technologies. And it was just great to witness that. But I think to me, the importance of always facilitating and nurturing that ease of travel between Ireland and Great Britain, because it benefits us in terms of so many ways economically, but also in terms of arts and research and so forth. And of course, work with Northern Ireland, and we appreciate the work of Hillary and Helen and Jim in terms of the legacy agreement and the work that you have been carefully attending to for some time, and we're making a lot of progress. But in many ways, that personifies the benefits of our relationship over a long time. And we have an agreed memorandum of understanding in terms of defence and security, which is very, very important, where we collectively working together in a collaborative way, in a cooperative way, work to protect our subsea cables, our critical underwater infrastructure, the challenges on cyber attacks that affect us all, and more general sort of security issues. And I think that level of coordination is very, very important to underpin and guarantee our economic security, but broader security in a very, very challenging and uncertain world. So Keir, I think
Well, Michal, thank you very much, and thank you to you and the delegation and everyone involved for what's been a really warm welcome as we come to this, our second summit. And last year, the ambition for the summit was very much to reset the relationship. The UK-Ireland relationship get onto a much better footing, and I think that we've managed to get that relationship to a very good place. And I see that reflected in the UK delegation, but also in everything we've seen here in the time that we've been here. And in that 12 months, we've risen to the challenges together, collaborating and coordinating our responses, but we've also taken advantage of the opportunities. And one of the themes last year was prosperity and the economy. And in the last year, the bilateral trade between our two countries has gone up 5%. That's quite a considerable increase. The trade flows are €2 billion a week, which is a considerable trade flow. And today we're announcing nearly £1 billion of inward investment into the UK, and of course investment the other way. So I think in terms of the ambition we set ourselves for last year, we very much achieved that. I thought this morning seeing the researchers in absolutely cutting edge energy technology, you could see the future but also see that collaboration. Researchers here in Cork working with academics from Imperial and literally side by side developing the same concepts and looking together to the future. I thought that was really, really inspiring. On energy, we're working very closely together on the Mares Connect interconnector with that ambition to connect Dublin and Wales. And with that will power 570,000 homes, a very big project. Also the North-South interconnector project as well. So really improvement. In terms of the projects themselves, energy security, and the impact it'll have on bills that people are facing, which is an ever-present cause of concern. And just reflecting on where we are, I mean, I think if we look at Ukraine, the 12-day war, the conflict now in Iran, you can see that when it comes to energy, our ability to collaborate and cooperate for energy security and bringing bills down and moving to renewables further and faster is critical as we go forward. On technology, new partnerships, on research, on 6G networks, which we're hearing about this morning. Again, really inspiring as to where they go with 6G, and of course on housing. And I think that the context at the moment is one where we have to work ever more closely together as key partners. We're working together to protect our citizens who are in the Gulf, collaborating in the last 2 weeks to ensure that we can work together to get those citizens back to our respective countries. We can go further, and we've got the ambition to go further on defence and security. That's really important. In Munich, in my security conference speech, I made the case that Europe needs to do more. We need to step up on defence and security. We all need to spend more, but that's got to be coordinated. We've got to collaborate. Otherwise, we won't get strategically what we need when it comes to defence and security. And I think we can see that in the discussions we're having today, maritime security, cyber security, where we're working together, recognising the threats to unseized cables and to our economies. And I'm really pleased that we're moving that work forward, that it's vital that we do so. And on other defence and resilience issues, especially when it comes to the Irish Sea and North East Atlantic in terms of that infrastructure that's under the water, which we know we need to work together to make more resilient. In terms of the wider picture, I do think that in light of the conflict in Iran, it is really important that we work ever more closely together, liaise. And just in terms of an update as to where we're at. Last night, RAF Typhoons extended their action to Bahrain, in addition to the other countries that we have been using that protection defensive work for, and of course Cyprus. Later today, the Energy Secretary and the Chancellor will convene petrol retailers and energy suppliers in Downing Street to press them on what they're doing to keep prices down, which is a real cause for concern across the United Kingdom. And as I said when I was in Northern Ireland yesterday, in terms of the oil-based heatings at homes and in relation to other prices, we've got to do everything we can to make sure there's no profiteering. People are really worried about the impact of Iran and the conflict back on their household, on their family. And so we need to be absolutely pressing down on any aspects of profiteering. And there will be more to come on that. I do know how worried people are in both of our countries about the impact of the conflict generally. They want to see us doing all we can to de-escalate, and they want to know, and they must know, that we understand that the cost of living is still the number one issue for them, and they're concerned about the impact there. And I can also just update, we now have 67,000 British nationals being returned home, so that's a number we keep working on. So there's lots to discuss. I think the communique will be a strong communique. I'm really pleased to see that shaping up, and to reflect what we're about to discuss, which is our shared prosperity, on which we've made real progress, the shared work we need to do on our seas, where again I think we're really moving in the right direction, and at some pace now, and on our shared ties. And it's fantastic to be around this table for the second summit. Moving on, as it were, banking what we achieved at the first summit, but moving on with ambition to this second summit. So thank you for hosting us. Thank you for your hospitality, and it is a real pleasure and privilege for me to be here with my delegation.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Yeah. I think last year we actually got
Easier before, you know.
Yeah, which makes it fun. It's quicker.
Yeah.
Like, not only be very busy, like,
Yeah.
all events will be busy.
Very good.
Course.
Yeah.